right, guys. So today we're going to be doing a reaction video to something I haven't seen actually. I'm really excited. Obviously, in the effort of what this show really is, we're trying to connect you with the right people in this industry, the right videos, the right channels, the right websites, so you can learn everything you need to know about precision long range shooting. In that effort, I came across this video. I'm very excited to see it. The 5 best cartridges for long range shooting. And this is by Backfire. I totally forgot about this guy's channel. I used to watch it all the time. He does amazing videos, amazing reviews, and a lot of comparison stuff, which is really, really great. And so I'm really excited to see this and see what these guys have to say. So let's check it out.
We're talking about the best long-range cartridges. I brought just a few of our friends together to talk about it, but it's an interest.
I mean, look at this lineup, right? I mean, this is pretty ridiculous. So we got Eric Cortina. These are the people, and you're watching my show, you've sort of seen this. We got Pete from Impact. We got Gavin from Ultimate Reloader. And the other two, Nick from World Champion Pistol Shooters. Obviously, I don't shoot pistol. I do precision long range shooting. So I don't know him, but I'm sure he's famous in his own right. And then we have Adam from Who T Who. So definitely some hard hitters. And I think this comes off the tail end of what I think they called the Rock Chuck Olympics. And that's probably, I think they were all in at the same time. Let's get some videos done. So let's check this out. I love how Eric's just in the middle commanding it, even though it's not his it's not his channel. So let's check this out.
Topic, because long range means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. And you guys are all incredible shooters in different disciplines. So I'm kind of interested to hear what you say, because I know there are tons of people out there that, you know, they're looking for that hunting rifle or just.
So if you guys don't know, when we're looking at these people, we're going sort of left from right here. When we're looking at the very middle black hat, that's Eric Cortina. He is an F-class shooter. And then I know that Pete, he mostly shoots precision rifle shooting. Gavin on the very far right, he... oh, look, their shirts. I just noticed this. Rock Chuck. So, yeah, it was off the Rock Chuck Olympics. That's funny. But at the very, he doesn't, Gavin doesn't shoot necessarily a discipline because he's mostly a reviewer and he just shoots a lot of stuff. Also, Pete is a hunter as well. And so I'm not sure about the other ones, but I definitely know for sure that's sort of what they are doing. And that's great for when you're looking at their channels, you're going to see a lot of that influence.
Get out on the range and shoot a little bit longer range, and they want to know what kind of things to be looking at. So, Gavin, maybe I'm going to throw this to you first. Sure. You got one long-range cartridge. What is it?
Okay, well, if it was a Magnum, it would be 7 PRC, but that's not what I'm going to choose. So it would be 6 Dasher, because it's just such a delight to shoot.
And what range would you consider that for?
Up to 1,000 easily. You know, first round hits, no problem. Good barrel life, good, easy to load for. That's it.
So
I'm not surprised 6 Dashers in there. 6 Dasher is a really popular shooting cartridge, particularly for competitive shooting. But sometimes it doesn't have quite enough power for some people, especially when you're trying to sight and things like that. And so I can see why he chose that. And it's funny, if you follow Ultimate Reloader, he knows a lot about a lot of different cartridges because he shoots a lot of them and he compares them and he runs the data on them. He's extremely smart. He has the analytics to back it up. So not surprised on that.
That's new to somebody who has never seen that on the store in at Sportsman's Warehouse. Tell us about it.
Well, it's 280 case rim. It's a lot like a 6BR. It's got a little bit different case capacity. 6GT is like a stretch limo version of that. That's another one of my favorite cartridges, but I know the load's better for 6 Dasher. So about 108, 105, 107 grain bullet, you know, really versatile. It's just one of my faves.
Super light recoil, easy to see your impacts.
Absolutely.
Very cool. All right, Pete, let's go to you.
So when it comes to long range shooting, one of the biggest things, and we would have all experienced that this weekend, is you don't necessarily hit on your first round. And if you're shooting far and the conditions aren't great, as much as I love my 6 or a phenomenal cartridge, it can sometimes be very difficult to tell where you're missing. And that means your next shot is another first round and you could effectively end up guessing round. So I'm a big fan of going a little bit on the heavier side, shooting a heavy 7mm bullet pretty quickly. It's low enough recoil where I can follow my shot through nicely, manage the recoil, don't loosen my teeth on every shot. But high BC 7mm bullet, you see your misses.
Not surprised to hear Pete is choosing this cartridge. A 7mm has gotten really popular. Now I run a 6.5 Creedmoor, which is, sort of right below that. But yeah, it's gotten really popular. And because he does PRS shooting, because he does, he does shooting for hunting, this makes perfect sense. And if you guys didn't quite follow what he was saying, essentially what he's saying is your first shot is a sighter. So you're just trying to make sure that it's on target with all the conditions that are there. And you want your first shot to be a true sighter. And the only way you can really do that, especially if you're not doing target shooting, is to see the path of the bullet, which can sometimes be difficult with certain rounds. He's saying if you can't see the path, then you might have to concentrate a little bit more or sort of try to figure it out. And the second shot you're taking, it then becomes another first sighter. And that can sort of be problematic when you're trying to get those first round shots. I'm wondering because I know that Eric Cortina shoots, I think it's 7 PRCW or something to that effect. I wonder if that's what he's going to go for. I think he's coming up next. Let's check this out.
It's pretty competitive in long range shooting.
High BC 7mm bullet is not a cartridge.
Right, so I'm going to chamber that in. Good point. So Gavin said 7 PRC. I don't have one yet. That is on order. But I shoot my 190 grain 7mm bullets at about 3,150 feet per second, which is pretty speedy, out of a 28 Sherman Magnum. It's effectively...
That's funny. I didn't catch that listening to it because I sort of knew what he was saying. But yeah, that makes sense. Obviously, it isn't a cartridge, but I got what he was saying with it.
Is a 300 PRC neck down to 7mm with a slightly more aggressive shoulder.
So that's obviously a pretty niche cartridge, but it would compare pretty well to something like a 28 Nosler in terms of velocity.
Very much so, yeah. Barrel.
So when we're looking here, this is a nice little chart they put up. They have the velocity here, right? And so depending on what you shoot, depending on what your cartridge is, your bullet weight, all of that sort of stuff will sort of depend on what the allowable range is for your muzzle velocity, how fast that bullet is leaving your rifle. And you can sort of tweak it a little bit when you're doing your reloading to try to get sort of the best ammo for you. And there's a lot that goes around with that, but that's essentially what he's talking about there.
That's the downside of a hot 7mm.
Yeah, you're going to get 900 rounds out of something like that, depending on how you shoot it and the barrel quality.
Probably more.
That 7 Sherman as well, I'm fairly certain a lot of F-class and even bench rush shooters are shooting that round. So, yeah.
600. Yeah, realistically.
You got barrel money, man.
Yeah, it's like low development and 1 or 2 matches, you're done.
All right. All right, Cortina, I got a feeling that you...
When it comes to barrel life, this is interesting because PRS, I think, goes through far more rounds than does bench rest or F-class. Now, a single round or like a single stage might be 10 shots. And if you're doing 10 rounds that day, then you're looking at 100 shots. If you're doing 2-day tournament, you're looking at 200 shots over a weekend. And F classes and bench rests are typically 20 round shots, maybe a little bit less. Now, I haven't done a ton of F class just yet, but I'm fairly certain that the roundage is a little bit less than PRS. So, kind of consider that, I guess, when you're looking at what sort of competitions you want to do and how much you're willing to spend on this.
I might know what you're going to pick here, but what do you got? So Eric shoots F-class. He's kind of okay at it. And it seems like everybody's kind of...
So Eric Cortina, he won the Southwest Nationals last year, or maybe this year, and actually 2023, so this year. That isn't the national tournament, but it's sort of considered like the equivalent of it, and he won that. He also went to the World Championship, won the national championship there, and won a team world championship. So he is regarded as one of the best F class shooters in the world currently. And has been pretty amazing for a while. Has his own equipment that he puts out, has his own forum, and he's one of the top influencers in the game as well. Definitely check him out if you haven't had an opportunity.
Coalescing around a couple cartridges.
Yeah, so 7 PRCW.
Yeah, there it is. 7 PRCW, like I said. It's sort of annoying that this is ending up all the way at the bottom. Let me see if I can. Nope. So 7 PRCW. That's a newer round that a lot of guys are shooting. It's a necked up, I think 6.5 Creedmoor. That shoots the 7mm. Let's see if he talks about it.
The W stands for Wheeler, and that is a 6.5 PRC necked up to 7mm.
Sorry, 6.5 PRC necked up.
It is very efficient, very consistent, and Lapua makes brass for it. So
And the speeds.
So that little note there, you might not have caught that. Lapua makes brass for. Why is that important? Well, when it comes to F class and it comes to bench rest, they are looking for the most precise shooting. There's a little bit less margin of error when it comes to, hunting, or when it comes to maybe sniper challenges, or particularly, precision rifle shooting, PRS. You have a little bit more of error that you can have in that. When it comes to F class, you're measuring essentially getting inside of rings. And when it comes to bench rest, you want to get the tightest group you can. And so every little thing matters. And Lapua is regarded as, if not the top, certainly one of the top three, maybe. Brass makers, they have the most consistency, they have the best life. And a good example of this, and this is what I've been told, I haven't tested it myself, but I run Hornady brass because I'm reloading pre-made rounds that I had. And I've been told it's really only like good to reload those maybe 3, max 4 times to have, consistency in them. For Lapua brass, I've heard people doing 10 to 15 times. It's just a lot better brass. And so I know that he's sponsored by Lapua, and he uses their brass exclusively.
You're pushing it to, though, so it's the 6.5 necked up to the 7, but the speeds you're shooting at really are what you're going to see out of a 7 PRC. So why this PRCW?
Lapua makes brass for it.
Okay.
No, it is more efficient. It is less of a barrel burner. And the reason we're getting those speeds is we're using 32-inch barrels. So
why does Gavin have the only different color shirt? What happened there? Did they mess that up? It's really odd. It's throwing me off. Like he's pulling my eyes over there. So weird. And I'm actually really interested on this question too, because I've watched some of his interviews that he did, particularly after he won the Southwest Nationals with Speedy, and he talks about this new started cartridge that he's running, but he didn't want to let too much out. Let's see what he lets out now.
that's where we're getting the speed, but you're still getting less case capacity, more barrel life, and the consistency is incredible. So as of right now, that is my favorite cartridge. Up to about a year ago, or a couple years ago, it was the 284 Shaheen. But now the PRCW is flavor of the.
Yeah, I think I said Sherman earlier. I meant the Shaheen. That's just the rookie in me, right? I'm green, still learning. I'm hearing the words and I'm trying to figure out what they are.
Okay, we got to take a little bit of a break because I want to talk about this for a minute, Pete. This is something you guys have been working on for quite a while. Is this the first time
It's pretty nice. I mean, I'm a chassis guy. I'm not a stock guy. So, but this looks really nice. at least it has the adjustable, cheek rest here at the back. It's running Lapua scope, although I don't run Lapua. I run Collis, but Lapua makes amazing scopes. It looks like he's running a bat action. So I run a bat action. Yeah. When I look at the little design on it, looks like very close to what I run. So it looks very close to what I'm running. Let's check it out.
seen in the wild?
Yes.
Maybe about there.
It's about the first time. It depends who's going to edit their video the quickest.
Aw, Gavin.
He's also got the MDT. It looks like to me the triple pull on there. Could be the double pull. We'll see if they zoom in. But if it is the double pull, I think the double pull is like $800. The triple pull is like over 1,000, I think. At least last time I checked. And the triple pull you can almost use standing up. I mean, it goes really, really high. So that's
So
pretty nice.
this is our Carbon X stock. We worked on this for 2 years, basically during COVID, and
It's
developed.
incredible. It looks so cool. The
Yeah, man, that looks like almost exactly like the action that I have. I wonder if it is the bat. I couldn't
is good.
totally
or,
see
sorry,
it.
the camo pattern you picked.
Yeah,
Very
I was
nice.
pretty pedantic about that. We had many versions of that and how to execute that because I didn't want to do the sponge thing that we've all seen done on everything
I'm
else.
so tired of it, and especially when you see the dripping sponge. They all drip, and I'm like, who put that on there?
Have you looked close enough that you can see there's actually writing in the camo?
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, I like
So
little
who's-
details like that.
Who's it for?
Carbon fiber, that's pretty nice, which means it's essentially means that it's lighter. It's still rigid enough, and I wonder if he's sort of trying to get in between that hunting and PRS group, and that's what a lot of stuff really caters to because it's such a big really part of the sector. It's so hard to find stuff on other like disciplines, and so I bet that's sort of what he's catering
We
to.
kind of designed this as like a hybrid system where basically you could make it heavier by putting weights in it. You can shoot matches, or if you want a more of a lighter rig and you want to go hunting. So if you've got a cartridge
Nailed
like
it.
Eric 7 PRC, you could literally take this guy, go out this weekend and shoot a match and do really well with it. And the next weekend, with your exact same setup, strip some weight off it, head up into the mountains and go sheep hunting. That's kind of our vibe.
I like it. I really like this line right here.
I find a lot of people that go shooting for hunting, they like stocks over chassis, and maybe because stocks are cheaper, significantly cheaper in most instances. Now, this carbon fiber one, maybe it isn't, but I do find that people that go hunting typically go that direction, and particularly when you buy pre-made systems. A lot of them, especially if you want to get like a good system under $1,000, around $1,000, maybe 2, 3. They have stocks on them.
Kind of, but after the receiver there, it just
Yeah.
looks, I don't know, there's something about that part that looks really cool to me. I like that.
I appreciate that a lot. Thanks.
Very cool. All right, Nils, I know long range.
Man, I wish they would have. I'm fairly certain that's a bad action. I don't think Pete shoots bat. I'm not entirely sure. I don't. Man, it's been a while since I've looked at his videos. I think he. I'm gonna have to take a look. I'll. You know what? I'll throw it on top, see if I can figure it out.
Might mean something very different for you.
Yeah, so I have a lot of pistol competition experience and extensive 3-gun knowledge. So my ideal long-range cartridge, and I think better than anything you just mentioned, is obviously 223. You'll easily shoot out to 400 or 500 yards, very consistent.
So this is a good. They all sort of laugh. The reason being is, long range is subjective, right? Now, traditionally, when you hear long range, people think 1,000 yard, right? 1,000 yards long range. But the smaller the bullet and cartridge, right? The closer the distance can be for that to be long range. Let's talk with like a BB gun. A lot of people, especially if you're watching this channel, you probably have shot a BB gun. What's long range on a BB gun, right? 50 yards, maybe. 100, like 50 yards is like pretty like out there for a BB gun, right? And so that could be precision long range for that particular shot. But I would say like traditionally when you're running a center fire heavy barrel thing, you're gonna be running really like 800, 1,000, and then once you're getting over 1,000, you're really starting to look at extreme long range, and that's a whole different discipline, and the cost on that all go up a lot more.
Very predictable. You might get kicked around a little bit with your...
Matter of fact, it would have been great for them to get somebody from the ELD industry. I don't see a lot of people doing videos on extreme long range, so or string long distances. So it would be pretty cool to have those guys in the mix.
But that's what I consider long range. These guys are kind of in a league of their own, so I'll leave the experienced shooters to their special calibers.
You know, it's a valuable perspective though, because I hear all the time from people that say like, man, for me, 250 yards is a long shot because there's not even a range near me that I can shoot further.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, and that's exactly what I'm saying, right? Like I'm I'm pretty blessed in the fact that I live near, relatively near, one of the few 1,000 yard ranges in California. Just so happened to be, I'm very lucky on that front. I actually think there's a club out here that has at least 500 yards, if not going out to 1,000, that is on private land. I haven't quite met up with them yet. I'm still working on that. But yeah, very lucky. And yeah, some people they live in an area where perhaps they can only get to a 50 yard range or a 100 yard range or maybe 250, right? So that's a great point.
And so it's it's kind of sad when you see somebody go, 7 PRC is new, it's this cool new thing, I'm going to go get it. But I never go on a range past 250 yards, and it's like, well, there's little purpose for this cartridge then. And so I appreciate that
Yeah,
perspective.
exactly. And it's way less expensive, right? So to be able to put a couple hundred rounds together and go to the range for, under $200 worth of ammunition, it's definitely something to consider.
Yeah, I'm actually considering getting a 22 Creedmoor, doing a 22 Creedmoor build, just so I can get a little bit more affordable shooting under my belt. But again, if I want to compete at a high level, I need to be shooting with the cartridge that I want to compete with. I've been a coach for a lot of different sports for the better part of 15 years, and because of that, I have quite a distinct training plan and discipline that I want to build within this sport. Um, just the way that I would coach anything else is sort of how I'm coaching myself. And I use all of these guys as sort of my digital coach, even though I don't get to talk to them or learn from them. I just listen to what they say and I try to find similarities in what they're saying and see if I can apply it.
Can I say something? I think what should be sort of agreed upon is what exactly is long range, right? It's cartridge specific. We were shooting long range 9
We will
millimeter
never
this week.
agree on that.
Exactly, yes. But if you're shooting a 22 rimfire at 300 yards, that is the same as shooting a 6.5 PRC at 1,000 yards. That's so what you have and your use case is very much dependent on is that long range for you.
I got to say something as well. So 223 bolt guns, when you weigh them down, are some of the most fun guns to shoot. I was talking with Brian Litz about the whole energy over weight, ratio. And if you want to shoot accurately and have fun with it, a real heavy light recoiling gun is super awesome. And the versatility, to go from just cheap ammo all the way up to something really expensive, match quality, 77 grain, whatever. Just the sheer versatility of the 223, I've been really, really surprised about.
Absolutely.
I have a little bit different perspective too. All these guys up here talking about all these ching chang whiz bangs that you can't.
Ching Chang whiz bangs, this freaking guy. That's, oh my God. I love it. He's got the camo undershirt on as well. Man, I need to check out this guy and see what he's all about.
Find in a store. So I have a little bit different perspective. Besides 223, but that doesn't count as long range. That's not going to kill an elk at 600 yards, so that doesn't count.
If you shoot it enough, but that's
So
not
I talked to a lot of people that asked me literally the same question. I've got the PRCs, 300, 65, 7 millimeter. Those are awesome. But my favorite is 7 millimeter mag. Same thing. High BC bullets carry plenty of energy out to 500-600 yards that will drop.
If we're looking at all of these, I mean, we're really the lowest velocity is 2940 all the way up to 3240. So I mean, we sort of have a range here, right? I mean, we're at least up there in that sort of area when we're talking about velocity.
Elk ethically, safely. I've got 2 7 mags that'll put them in the same hole. A Sacco and a cheap Remington, just like any other rifle. Once you find the ammo and 7 millimeter mag,
PRC is a little bit better.
I understand that. Out past 1,000 yards, the 7 PRC will smoke the mag. I think we had that discussion before, but how many people shoot past 1,000? Probably like 2% or less of the population.
I like how he raised his hand ultimately later. The thing about these guys as well is they all have access, right? They're all very great. I think at least, I don't know some of them, but most of them are very great shooters in their own regard, and they have access. People want to invite them out. They want to go do what they're doing. You don't get good without having access to range. So, yeah, it's just funny.
So y'all's perspective is just irrelevant. So
And don't forget, if you kill it, you have to go get it.
That's
that is
right.
true.
Someone's
Or
got to
have a lot
hike
of
out
buddies.
there.
Yep, 7 mag. That's
Now
me.
that is interesting how much 77777 we hear in this
I was
conversation.
going to point that out. There's a lot of 7mm.
Yeah, and there's a reason. Like when you look at, you know, equivalent magnumness of cartridges in all of the different calibers, 7 just stands way out. If we're talking about that 1,000 yards plus, for you're making a 100-yard shot, it's not going to matter a whole lot. But at that 1,000 yards and plus, there's something about 7.
When I used to hunt down in South Texas, deer hunt, 708 was my favorite. 500 yards and in. And then for the little bit longer shots, I had 280 Ackling proof. So it's always been a 7.
Yep.
I didn't know that Eric was a hunter. I mean, I sort of always assume people who are in the shooting industry do some form of hunting. But I don't think I've ever heard him talk about it. So that was interesting.
708 was one of my favorites back then.
Well, you guys, thanks for participating in this video. It's fun to spend a couple days with you.
And that means it's
Time to wrap it up.
Nice.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Jim.
223.
So pretty great video. I love how they squeezed them all in to this little studio space, and they're like, "Yeah, we'll just pass around some mics." I think this is a great example of how people, who this doesn't have anything to do with shooting, but people who want to do videos and they want to, make an impact in the social media game. They always think, oh, we need to get the best equipment. We can't start until, we have this and we have that rather. And that mic series he has, I'm fairly certain that's the DJI dual mic, 2 mic to 1 receiver. I think they're like $300, maybe 4. I'm not super sure, but they're not very expensive comparatively to what you can have in here. And there's, they have the camera and stuff like that. But I see somebody in this freaking TV who's going back and forth. I must be recording for social media, but yeah, so pretty cool. Yeah, great episode. And I want to bring some more stuff to this. More stuff like this to you guys, and we'll continue to do the walkthrough videos, of course, but stuff like this I think could be pretty interesting, pretty cool, and a little more insight on who these guys are and what they can bring to you. So thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you guys next week.